Alrighty, y'all. Hello. I'm being told to look at this video today about more satisfying traffic flow in Europe, this time in Scandinavia. We're heading to Norway for this one. I'm told they're some of the best at roundabouts and just smooth traffic flow, which I find very satisfying, as that could be a little hard to come by sometimes here in the US. We've looked at stuff like this with like a traditional intersection in the Netherlands. That was very cool to see people on bikes and in cars, and just everything flowed really well, and it was pretty cool. We've actually stuck with the roundabout theme lately, taking a look at something in Paris a few days ago, one of the biggest roundabouts in all of Europe. That was pretty crazy, and not necessarily the best traffic flow, although I would call it organized chaos, as well as some pretty wild roundabouts, like the Magic Roundabout in the UK. Now, I've been sent this by Stefan, so thank you for that. He said, take a look at a couple of these clips and just kind of watch how the traffic flows and how busy it can get and how smooth it is, which I'm very interested to see. Roundabouts are still very rare here in the U.S., and typically the ones that you do encounter, at least around me, aren't like huge traffic flow areas, so you never really get to see how it performs under pressure. This comes to us from a channel called Bjorn Nature, and these will all be linked down below so you can watch these whole videos uninterrupted and browse his channel. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Som har hört att det är så till land. Där är en Toyota Hiace till vänster här.
Wow, this is a beautiful area, by the way. That is a cool van. Even the traffic's going to be interesting, like always, for me.
Står ni långt ifrån fotgängare du är första bil? Om 5 meter, det är kvällen morgon.
I love the hard techno in the background.
Som ser på den här bilen med bilar, det är skufande. Det var 50 stycken som såg på i alla fall.
Wow.
Säkert, det är 50 stycken som såg på, just det bara 5.
So, first thing I see is great lane discipline so far, right? Look at, there's also a roundabout down there. So, that's how common these are. I mean, there's 2 in a row, and you rarely see that. At least here where I am in Illinois, you don't see that much. Now, oddly enough, when you go up to the state of Wisconsin's very, like, kind of European in certain aspects of the state compared to a lot of other states. So roundabouts are actually quite common, where you will see like 3 or 4 in like a small area like this. Yeah, I mean, everyone's like disciplined. And no one's going like too fast or reckless, and everyone has proper courtesy. Like they push their position, but by the time they get to where they have to yield to somewhere else, it's like it's a soft transition, right? Like there's no one, you know, pressuring other people bumper to bumper and stuff like that. This is a cool area. I mean, even the grass looks pretty, but look at the mountains in the background, dude. That's my kind of scenery. That's freaking awesome. And, you know, pretty standard roundabout technique and etiquette. Looks like if people are going right or second right or straight, they're staying in the outer lane. And then if they're having to go all the way to the 3rd exit, they're staying on the inside lane, which would be proper, right? And they transition over. At least that's what I understand. You know, part of the reason I find this interesting, and I'm kind of just watching this flow, is because look at them. They even yielded for that crosswalk where this bicycle crossed. That was great awareness. And you're probably wondering, like, well, duh. Well, you'd be surprised. I've seen this very rarely, of course, in the U.S. because how many people really, use a bicycle to commute here? Not many, for good reason. I've seen people go maybe up to here and then have to wait because cars are just flying through, and they usually don't have courtesy for a pedestrian or bicycle. I think you've heard maybe like the jokes or the memes that, the cars have right of way in America, right? Which is not always factually true, but unfortunately in practice it seems to be that way. Anyway, this is a different angle, like a beautiful sunny day as well. What I was going to say is the reason I find this so interesting is because I just love seeing, it's kind of oddly satisfying, right? Seeing how this flows so well. I can already see that, right? I kind of had good expectations, and sure enough, I mean, look at how great it's flowing, and then all the way down to the second roundabout down there. It is interesting. This must be this, like what you would find in the U.S., like a, I don't know if it's like a shopping center or maybe a mall, like a shopping mall. But yeah, it's surprising to see kind of a bigger parking lot or a car park. I don't know what the proper term would be, wherever you're watching from, where you see a bunch of cars and then a big shopping center. Now, of course, I know that does exist in other countries. It's just typically you see this everywhere in the U.S., and you are more hard-pressed to find this. You find this less often in especially European countries, from what I understand. Regardless, I can safely say when you see a big shopping center like this, you usually don't find this kind of street system around it. I find this very satisfying. And for the millionth time, me saying why I find this interesting is because traffic flow around my immediate area is something unfortunately I've complained about, I guess, if you want to say it that way, for a long time. It's very inefficient, and I would like to kind of show a way to display that in a future video. And so when I see this, I find this amazing. I wish that this was how the infrastructure around me was, because this clearly, if you can notice, everything flows so fast. If you want to pick a car and follow it, they're going to get through here very quickly and efficiently, right? And, around me, you pick a car and you follow it, and it's just so slow, right? So, like, one thing with me I notice is, like, when I take my kids to school, like, our way to school is very inefficient. And there's really no other way I can take. If I take another way, which, there's maybe only 2 or 3 ways you could take, the other 2 ways are even slower. So, like, the fastest way is still very slow, and it's a lot of red light, and then another red light. And then, you know what I mean? It's like it can be chaotic in a couple parts, and I don't find the flow and the way things work to be great at all. I think they're kind of horrible some days. And so you have a route where it should take, if things, were better and maybe more like this on most of the drive, it might take around like 7 minutes to get there. But instead, some days it takes 20 minutes to get there because I'm spending most of the drive idling at a red light. It's very annoying, right? It's wear and tear in your car, and it's, inefficient just idling like that. And also it's annoying because you're wasting time. So yeah, I find this very satisfying because if you'll notice, there's only a couple times where this might get pretty packed and these cars sit here and wait for just a few seconds, maybe 10, 15 seconds, and then they find their way in, boom, and they're through, right? Whereas I'm sitting at red lights sometimes. The light cycles in Illinois specifically are really whack. Sometimes they're horrible. It'll be red 4 ways. All 4 ways are red, and then one will turn green. So like 3 ways are red, and I'm sitting there through all these light cycles, and they're too long. So if I'm at the wrong end of the stick, so to say, I could be sitting at a light for 2.5 minutes, and if you hit 9, 10 red lights like I do sometimes, there you go. You got 20 minutes of wasted time. Yeah, this is really impressive By the way, all these cars we've seen, and this is the first pickup truck I've seen, and it's not even a big one. It's, like a smaller mid-sized truck, which, by the way, those are awesome. It's actually a truck. I don't even know what it is. I can't even tell what brand it is. It looks so different than any truck we have in the U.S. But it's kind of fun. Another fun feature is you see just a lot of cars and a lot of cool kind of vans. It's just a different looking traffic than you would encounter here in the U.S. We have, a lot of these cars as well. You're going to see a lot more of big trucks and SUVs. And yeah, you see a lot of people walking and they're crossing with no issues. They cross very confidently. I mean, of course, they look and they're aware. But look, they just walked past. They have a kid with them. This guy's on a bicycle and he walks, or they travel through this crosswalk with total confidence. And I love to see that. There are some areas where you're not going to be confident crossing in the U.S. Here's another day, kind of rainy. Just the scenery is beautiful, though. Lots of buses, lots of big, cool, like Scanias and Mercedes trucks. You guys know I love those if you have seen the channel. Yeah, this is just impressive. And to see them go right through and then they go down there and they, it's like everywhere you look, it's just smooth, buttery smooth. We haven't even seen any near misses, Now, I'm sure those happen sometimes, but like kind of, I guess I wouldn't call that a near miss, but there's a little bit of maybe someone jumped the gun there, but overall looks very impressive. Yeah, maybe someone watching this, maybe you'll recognize this. Maybe you've driven in this area before. And of course, if you want to duke it out in the comments just for fun, be my guest. Who do you think does roundabouts the best? I wouldn't know, of course. I haven't driven around every European country at all. But, from what I've seen on videos, everywhere seems to do pretty decent, especially compared to the U.S. I will have to say, this was, told to me that Scandinavian countries tend to do very well with driving in general and roundabouts. And, I think this definitely speaks for that. Of course, this is just limited footage in one area, but yeah, this was very good. This is very good to see. I think it's very satisfying. And I think it's inspiring. I wish this was more common in the U.S. I don't know if it ever will be or not. I know some places have really overhauled their infrastructure, like just random towns have implemented a lot more roundabouts. And of course, like I said, you have some states where they're more common, like Wisconsin, for example, near me. But overall, it's just not an American thing, right? It's like this weird resistance for roundabouts. Why people would rather sit around at red lights all day blows my mind. I don't know. It's American traffic can be so overwhelming and backed up, and traffic jams and all this stuff are like daily part of life. It's very, very frustrating. In conclusion, seeing this kind of road system, I don't know. I enjoy it. I like it a lot. And because it's so opposite of what I encounter on a daily basis, and I wish I could encounter something like this. That's basically what it comes down to. That was very impressive. Round of applause for Norway, and at least in this area by this beautiful like shopping area. It looks cool. And yeah, very well organized road system. The roundabouts, at least 2 in a row that we can see. I'm sure there's probably more around this area. Surrounded by mountains. I mean, what's there to not like? Really, really cool to see. These will be linked down below. Make sure to check out those original videos in their entirety. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all, stay safe out there. I'll catch you later. Wait, there's bonus footage. Hold on. I want to show you this funny video I just found that was suggested on the side. And this is titled, "This is what happens when Americans try to drive on roundabouts." First of all, I want you to look at how the road looks. Okay? This is what I'm talking about. Doesn't look as polished, of course, right? Always under construction. Always looking like a mess. Sorry, I got to say it, right? And then look at how it's operating. Oh, my Lord. So consider this Scandinavians versus Americans on roundabout. Here we go. Brace yourself. By the way, Americans, we drive on the right. So these cars are supposed to be on the right side of the road, and they're supposed to go, and they're supposed to exit here, or they go, and they exit here, or they go all the way around and they exit here. Either way, you're staying in the right side, right? Same way I think you were driving in Norway. Basically, most countries I'm watching this would probably drive on the right, except if you're in like Japan or the UK or Australia, whatever, right? Like, most countries drive on the same side. What are these people doing over here? That's not how it works. If we see, I think this truck did it correctly, and everyone else epically failed. They all failed, and this truck did it right. And he's coming around like, whoa, what the hell? You saw him hesitate for a sec? Oh, jeez. Look at these people. They're like, whoa, where do I go? Where do I go? You thought I was making this stuff up. Come on. That's funny. Wish me luck. Wish me luck driving out there.